Afternoon, folks. Scott here at Watts Way Farms. Thanks for tuning in for another one of my farm videos. So today is just a kind of a rainy, overcast day. I mean, it's a little cool outside. Temperature's not bad, but it is a rainy day. And so I thought I'd take this opportunity to make just a quick little video on fence energizers and kind of a review of what I use and why, and maybe a little bit of input on what I don't use and why, and show you the new Energizer that I got that I'm about to fire up today. So thanks for tuning in, joining me. And if you like these kind of videos, I'd love it if you'd go ahead and give it a subscribe. And I'm right at the, I think, 900 subscriber mark as of this writing, and I'm appreciative of every one of you subscribers. But I won't lie, I have decided I would like to see if I couldn't get that to go up a little higher. So stick around and let's see what we got. About a year or so ago, I did a video on my solar Energizer setup, which I just don't use anymore. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It was doing what it needed to do. I did learn that I probably needed bigger solar panels, but since the time that went up, this did, or I guess I could say this went down. This is my pump shed, and since then we've added water, well water to the farm. And what we've done is I've moved the Energizer here and put it on the main power. Now I still use my, I guess, toolbox setup with the deep cycle battery, and what I really use it for now mainly is just small setups like this hot wire training pin. This white cow in the back is a new addition to our farm. She's a registered British white heifer that we took on trade, and we just have Ava cow in with her so she won't be alone while she kind of quarantines and kind of get used to the farm. But what I do have is I still got, so here's my other Speedrite 3000 and the battery. And what I do now is I have 3 of these deep cycle batteries that I just rotate through on the charger and then change these out, and it works really good. And here's my other Speedrite 3000. I have 2 of these on the farm, and as you can see, the one that I just showed you is on a battery, and this one's on mains. And that's actually the exact reason why I initially bought these, was that they are interchangeable between AC and DC power. When you order it, it actually comes with both of these, I guess, connectors, one for plugging it in and one for connecting it to battery. And this is really it's a good charger. I mean, I didn't know, I did a bunch of research back when I bought it, but there's some things that I've learned since that, I don't know if I would have stuck with this or not, but regardless, it's what I got. Now, the main thing on these that I've learned is, and this is all Speedrites, is that inside on the wafer board or the green board, whatever you call it, where all the circuitry is, and I'm not going to pull it off, but kind of try to talk you through it, is once it's all wired up, it looks like there's like some sort of like clear gel they put over the whole thing to kind of waterproof it, if you will, or make it more environmentally I guess sealed. And the feedback or the perspective that I've gotten from several other YouTubers and reviews is that over time that shorten the life of those and makes them a little bit more expensive to work on. I saw one YouTuber that said you expect 5 to 8 years out of it, and then it's got to be repaired, and because of that that clear rubbery membrane all over it, that it is going to cost a little more. So based on that, I don't know, maybe I would have went with another brand. I don't know. I do know that based on all my reviews, the Gallagher and is it Cyclops or Cyclops, I forget the name of it, those seem to be the the top two. Now Speedrite's up there as well. It's a well-known brand. It's kind of a premium price is what I've learned. And all not a bad Energizer, and I've been very happy with it. Now, like I said, I've got a 3 joule here, and it really works well for our farm, but let me show you the problem that I'm having right now with it. So there's the pump shed where the Energizer connects, and I do have, it's either 3 or 4, I think it's 3 8-foot grounding rods about 10 feet apart down that fence line right over there. And I have what I call semi-permanent 12.5 gauge high tensile that runs all the way back into that woods a bit where my fence line is at. And then I have, that's 3 strands, and I have 3 strands that run all the way up to the road, and it also crosses over, and I've got 2 strands down this side of the driveway, and that pretty much feeds the entire farm. And so right now, off of this one Energizer, I've got all that. You can kind of zoom in a little bit. There's a huge paddock back there for my cattle. It's keeping them in, and which you can't see, but back over here, maybe I'll walk this way just a little bit. So in the woods, right in this area, is my Berkshire, my batch of Berkshire pigs. I'll be headed to processor in end of June. They're over there. You see, this is actually where they're going to go next. We've already run the line, and then just back up in there somewhere, there's a cross line that we'll just take up when we're ready for them to go here. And then over there, you can just kind of make it out. That's where my breeders are at. And then in the very back over there is where my sows and gilts are at, and all of those run off of that one 3 joule Energizer, which, you know, 90% of the time works just fine. But the challenge that I've got, and we're at mid-April right now, I think today's April the 16th of 2022, and already, I mean, we're real fortunate and blessed down here. I mean, look at the grass. I mean, it is just, it went in less than a month. I mean, from brown to this. And the challenge I have is just that grass. I just can't stay ahead of it, keeping it cut. I mean, if I want to try to keep it cut off the fence lines, that's all I'd ever be doing is cutting grass. And, you know, we've talked about spraying, but we just don't like using a bunch of chemicals on our farm, so we don't want to use the glyphosate, the Roundup on our fence lines. So, you know, it kind of puts us in a predicament. And today, let me show you what makes it even worse. So when it's just a hot sunny day and everything's just normal, that little 3 joule Energizer still can deliver a pretty hot shock. But when it's all rainy like it is today, what happens is that wet grass that touches like it's doing a little bit here, just all over the entire farm, really grounds it out. And as you can see right now, getting 3,000 volts almost, 2,900 volts, which, you know, my animals are all fairly trained to the hot wire by now. So it really should be it really is enough, but it's just not hot enough for me. I want it as hot as possible because I do not have, I mean, the poly wire is the only thing keeping my cows in, the only thing keeping the pigs in. Now I do have 5-strand barb around the entire property, but, you know, I'd rather them stay where I want them to be. And so I read online somewhere that you wanted either 2,000 or 3,000 volts for pigs, I forget, and then 6,000, I think, or maybe it was 4, I don't know, but there were recommendations of how many volts you want for various animals, and this is definitely below it. So here's the new Energizer. I just got and it's a Speedrite 12,000. Now you may be wondering why, if I just got done saying that if I go back and do it again, I probably wouldn't have bought the Speedrite 3000, because I think the Gallagher and the Cyclops is better. Why did I buy this one? And the reason is actually not this Energizer, but instead it's this right here, the remote and fault finder. Now, I'm not really, the fault finder, it's not really that big of a deal to me. I guess that's kind of interesting. It's supposed to tell you where the faults are on your lines, but I usually don't have it. If I have a fault on my line, I usually don't have too much trouble finding it, but it is this feature right here, the remote. So with this, and I know it's supposed to be able to, from anywhere on the fence, turn the Energizer on and off, in which, I won't lie, call me lazy, call me what you will, but if I'm way out at that front corner of the of my that pasture in the very front corner and want to turn the fence off, it's such a pain to have to come all the way back, turn it on, and go all the way back. And like I said, call me lazy. And then another farmer friend of mine said that I should just put cutoffs along the way, you know, like little jumpers where I can just go back and isolate sections. And you know, and that's not a bad idea either. But I don't know, the idea of the remote, just to turn it off from anywhere, is not a bad idea. Now, the Cyclops, as best I could tell, does not have a Energizer that has the remote. Now, the Gallagher does, and whereas this one's a 12 joule output, I believe the smallest one that the Gallagher does this on is an 18, and it was, I don't remember if it was double the price of this one, but it was several $100s more. Now, together, this thing isn't cheap. I want to say all in, this may have set me back close to $1,000. I want to say that was around $800-900, and that might have been around 200. I forget. And though it does say 500 acres and I only have 80, you know, up to 90 miles. I don't know if that's 1 mile or one strand, 90 miles, or 3 strands. I don't know. But what I figured was I wanted to get the most my budget could afford, with the thought that eventually this one thing will power my entire farm. We are planning here this summer to greatly expand our pig production capabilities at the very far back of the pasture, kind of a Joe Salatin type setup, with probably going to do like 8 to 10 semi-permanent paddocks that they can be that the pigs can rotate it through. Now, I may do a spoken wheel versus the kind of the rectangle that Joe Salatin prescribes, but I hadn't quite made my mind up yet. But a couple things about this that I do like, and it can, I don't know if it shows up, but it can go from 110 to battery or solar, and that's important to me, though I'm on the 110 now, the main. I do plan on one day, I don't know if it'll be this year, next year, whenever, but I do plan on looking at going back to solar in just an effort to be more sustainable, and so that's important to me. Actually, those two things were probably the most important. Now, this thing comes with more knobs than the other one has, and it took me a little while to kind of figure it out, but basically with this one you can do zones. I guess if you had a zone way right, like close to your house or close to people that you want to do lower output, you can plug it in here, versus this one, which is the full, and then this one, which I don't know, maybe I'll use it one day, maybe I won't, but in essence this one tests how good your connection, your ground is, and all that. So in essence, you run another grounding rod like 30 feet the opposite direction from your existing one, and this tells you the quality of I guess your output there. I don't know if I'll use that. I'll probably just use the red and the green like normal, and then that along with my remote on off, I think I'll be in business. All right, so let's get this thing hooked up. All right, very easy to set up. It actually had the 2 screws behind here matched up perfectly with the 3000, and just needed one more screw. And it's got this display that says 7.3 kV. I don't know if that's what I'm getting on the fence or not. I assume it is. I don't know. The 0.0 I bet is the potential if I had this black one hooked up. But anyway, one thing that is different from the 3000 is these extra settings. So you had this setting, which is your battery tester, which really wouldn't works. I'm plugged into the main. And then this has got, it's a little bit different than the other one. The other one had the turtle for slow and the rabbit for fast. They're flipped around. But what this reading the instructions says, the rabbit is fast during the day, slow at night, and the turtle is slow during the day, fast at night. Then you've got this little half-filled circle, which is half power, and then this, which is full power, fast setting, which is 1.5 seconds, which is what it looks like it's doing. So I think it's running, and then let's go put it on the fence. I don't know if you can hear the rain's coming down pretty good. It's hitting on the tin roof over my head, but let's go put the tester to it and see what it says on the fence. All right, so here's my little tester. It's got a probe that you put in the ground, and then this is a cheap one. I think I got it for like 20 bucks off of Amazon. Well, let's see what we got now. So 47, what is that? Almost 2,000 volts, 1.8, so 1,800 volts more than we had before. So I went from a 3 joule to a 12 joule, so 3, 6, 9, so 4 times the amount, but didn't get double the output, but close to. But I'm sure it's because of all the rain. Better than it was. Honestly, not as great as I would have hoped, but I do think I'm just going to spend a day, cut these lines, and then I suspect it will have a huge difference. But let's give the remote a try now. All right, so here's my fancy high dollar Speedrite remote, which was the main reason for all these purchases. It's supposed to check the voltage that the fence is putting out. It's supposed to find faults, and most importantly, it's supposed to turn the fence on and off from anywhere along the line. And pretty intuitive. This line here turns the unit on and off. These 2 buttons are the on and off for the fence, and then this little slot on the front is where you put the fence when you want to turn it on and off, and then this back here is where you hook it when you're trying to test it. And then this little probe on the top measures you put it right up against the Energizer. And I've already played with this a bit. I just read the quick start guide. I hadn't read the whole instructions. I'm gonna do that this evening. But I do know, disconnected from the fence, with this up next to the Energizer, it reads 9,900 or 9.9 kilovolts, 9,900 volts. So it's definitely putting out some juice. Now, I will tell you, I've played with this a little bit. The fault piece, I'm not too sure of, because I don't think I have any faults in my fence right now, so it's not showing anything. The on-off feature, it's kind of hit or miss. Well, let's walk through it. So I turn it on, and the fence is on now. So I hook it up here, and as you can see, I'm getting 53 kilovolts, which I think is very interesting. Because when I use this one with the probe that sticks into the ground, I get 46, 47. So I don't know which one's more accurate. I'm kind of thinking, because that one was like 20 bucks, but it has a ground probe. This one was like 250, that maybe this one's more accurate. I'm guessing what it is. I don't know much about how electricity works, other than it arcs and it hurts. But I bet you this metal plate makes me the ground on this. So again, 5,400 volts, 53. So then let me turn it off, turn it back on, and this is how you're supposed to turn it off. Yeah, worked that time. I was doing it previously, and I had to hit it a couple times. Reading nothing there. Reading nothing there. And in the true test, nothing there. So now then, I guess the remote worked in that case. So let's now use it and turn the fence back on. And it seemed to work. Go to this side. And I do know, looking at this one, it takes a little bit to, I guess, get up to speed. So yep, so I'm back at 5200 kilovolts, 5300. And then I'll bet you this one's gonna show the same 4.7. So there's a little bit of discrepancy. Fence might be a little hotter than it says, but that's probably more accurate. But anyway, but very pleased with, seeing that showing. See, I don't know if that was see, it was showing a little bit of a fault there. And I don't know, just because I was jiggling it a bit, probably. I don't know. But all in all, we'll see how this goes. Right now, I'm that far away from the Energizer. So when I get all the way out there to that far corner of the pasture over there, I need to turn it off. We'll see how it works. So again, that's my Speedrite 12,000i and Speedrite 3000 review. I hope y'all found some benefit in this as you're looking at Energizers. Maybe this will help. So thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, so that the YouTube algorithms will present it to more people who may also benefit from it. And hope to see you back here on another video soon. Thanks.